In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a messenger campaign. The goal of this type of campaign is simply to create a conversation between the business and their ideal customer in order to exchange information, possibly get the customer's phone number, jump on a quick call with them, and then schedule an appointment or whatever the end goal is. This specific type of campaign is great for businesses that don't have a great website or don't have a website that is proven to convert with paid traffic yet. These leads aren't always the highest quality because they simply take the click of a button in order to opt in to begin that conversation. But messenger campaigns can be great for local businesses, especially if the local business doesn't want to operate within a CRM, a customer relationship management tool, and isn't comfortable using any type of customer management software. When running a messenger campaign, all that simply happens when a conversation begins is you see a new customer message you in your inbox on Facebook and on Instagram. This takes place on your business pages. This can be great for businesses that aren't able to call their leads immediately or don't necessarily want to have a set calendar for, say, a Zoom call or even an in-person appointment. We found these to work really well for spas, med spas, hair salons, any type of local business where it may just make more sense to text back and forth through the Messenger app to make sure it's a good fit before getting on a call or booking an appointment. And with that, let's get started. First, we're going to hit the create button like we always do in the top left corner. We're going to select engagement, continue, leave it on manual, continue. We could simply call this messenger campaign. We'll scroll down, select next. And for this, we want to leave this on messaging apps. This just means that the end goal here is to get people to message us on Facebook or on Instagram. And those messages will go to the business page that you select below this section. So we have My Roofing Connect. If I had an Instagram page for this, we would connect that as well. This will still show the ad on Instagram, but if you only have a Facebook page, as of now, Facebook will still show it on Instagram, but will funnel all of the messages to your Facebook inbox. We're going to leave it on maximum number of conversions. We're going to leave it at $15 a day for now. Because it's later in the day, you can see it's 5 p.m. here. We're going to schedule this for tomorrow. We're going to put this at midnight. The reason we do that is simply because if this ad takes 2 to 3 hours for Facebook to approve it, we don't want Facebook to just spend the $15 or whatever you have your budget set to in the last hour of the day. So we like to schedule things at the beginning of each day. If it's not anytime before, say, 10 a.m. in the morning already. If it was 9 or 10 a.m. today, we would simply publish this ad now, knowing that it would go live in a couple hours. So as we scroll down, we're going to switch this to original audience because we want to make sure that we are targeting the exact type of person that we want. Use original audience. So this is going to be a roofing ad. First, we're going to start with our location. Let's say this business is in Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville, Tennessee. And then we want to do a, let's say, 20-mile radius around Nashville. Okay. Then we're going to scroll down. We're going to deselect this. We do not want this selected. It says reach more people likely to respond to your ad. We'll also show your ad to people interested in your select cities. You do not want that. You don't want to show this ad to people that live in California but happen to be interested. You only want to show this to people that are actually in Nashville. So we deselected that. As we scroll down, we want this to go to homeowners that have money. So we're going to start it at 25 or so. 25 to 65 is good. We're going to leave both genders. For this, we're going to target English. And we will look through this. There's a couple different options that you have here. So when doing local advertising, we typically run broad. Broad means that you are only targeting your ideal gender and age range. One thing that you can do, so if you monitor this up here, so you see 700,000 people, 710,000 people to 835,000 people, that is what we have narrowed things down to. If you lower this age range, you should see this go up, 759,000. So basically, as you narrow things down more and more, this will become more narrow. It may sound like you want it more narrow, but because of ad fatigue, because of showing people the ad so many times over and over, you'll burn out your audience really quickly. So 9 out of 10 times for local ads, we typically do not add an interest in here. But if you wanted to add an interest, here are a couple things that you can do. Since this is a roofing ad, let's try adding in roof interest. So roof is the actual interest, and see how it narrowed it down from what was it, 300,000 people down to 87,000 people. Then you could simply hit the suggestion button and it'll give you similar interest. So we're going to go roof and construction. Another suggestion, home repair. Now we'll come back to interest afterwards. For now, we're going to delete these and we're going to create our ad. Let's scroll back up before we do that. This is called our ad set right here. So this top one is called our campaign. Then we have our ad set, the level we're on now, and within an ad set are your ads. So we're just going to rename this. We typically name this what the audience is. So we're going to call this broad, because that just means there's no interest. And then let's put Nashville 20-mile radius. So that way when we look at this, we know exactly what this is. There's no interest targeting, and we're targeting 20 miles around Nashville. So we're going to scroll down. One thing to note about local advertising, you can also come in here, you can do ad locations in bulk. So you can do multiple cities, you can do postal codes. Postal codes work great if you know your city really well and only want to target the nicer neighborhoods. This can work really well for higher ticket items. So you'd have to do your research before this, but you would simply come into this section and then you would enter all the postal codes that you want to target. For now, we're just going to target everything within 20 miles of Nashville. So we're going to hit next. We're just going to call this image 1, because we're going to start with an image ad, and then just call this free roof assessment. So we know the angle that we're doing, and I'll just call this 1.0. So we can enable this ad preview, so as we're building it, we can see what we're building. We have our pages connected here, My Roof Connect, My Roofing Connect. So we're going to scroll down, set up creative. We're going to add an image. So I'm going to go down to the add media section. Now I already have some images in here. I'm going to select this image because I know that it works well. Now this may take some testing. Sometimes it takes 3, 5, even 10 images before you actually find the one that works best in your area. But these type of images typically work really well for us. You don't even have to have the graphics. The main thing is to have text on your image that clearly conveys exactly what you are offering. Some of our best performing image ads are actually just a black background with text on top of it in a color of your choice saying schedule your free roof inspection or schedule your free workout or whatever the actual offer is. So we're going to select this image ad. We're going to leave these all in original. If anything looks funky, you can see right here how this doesn't look right. So we're going to keep these all as original. Hit next. We're going to hit skip here. This is trying to create AI images for us. We do not want this. This is a new feature that Facebook just released. Skip and continue. We typically will leave all these optimizations off. I'll usually just flip it on and flip it off to make sure these are all off. Done. Okay, so you can see what the image looks like here. Now I'm going to paste in the text format that typically works really well for us. We'll usually start off by addressing who this is for. And you could say homeowners in this situation, or you could even say Franklin or Nashville area homeowners. So there's a couple different ways you can go. You could say homeowners, and we like to bold this, and I'll show you exactly how we do that. If you live in the Franklin or Nashville area and your roof looks weathered or in need of replacement, take advantage of our free in-person roof inspection and assessment. Click Learn More to schedule your free roof assessment today. It's very clear who this is for, what we're offering, and the action that we want them to take. Very simple and straightforward. So I'll show you exactly how we bold this text here too, if that's something that you want to do. We do find that it helps. So we always go to yaytext.com. You can paste in the text that you want to use here. We're going to even do this. We're going to start off by saying Franklin and Nashville homeowners. So we're going to do that whole thing. And then we usually just use this top one right here. You can hit this copy button on the right. And then we're going to go back. And then we're going to paste this in as the first line. Franklin and Nashville homeowners. If, and then we're going to skip this whole area. If your roof looks weathered or in need of replacement, take advantage of our free in-person roof inspection and assessment. Click Learn More to schedule your free roof assessment today. Perfect. Very clear of who it's for, what we're offering, and the action we want them to take. So as we scroll down for the headline, this isn't very clear exactly what we're offering. It says chat and messenger. That's just the default. We're going to change this to either free roof assessment, or you could say free roof assessment for Tennessee homeowners if you want to be extra clear. We can see now that this is not showing the full headline, but as we switch this to learn more, it should, because it makes the button a little bit smaller. So for this call to action button, we typically use learn more 90% of the time. So now you can see how our ad is coming along. We have our main text up top, or we call it our body copy. And we have our headline down below, free roof assessment for Tennessee homeowners. Our call to action is learn more. When they hit this button, it'll open up the conversation and start the conversation. So we're going to go into the start conversation section. We're going to hit edit, and we're going to make a few changes here. Now feel free to make this your own, but this is typically the text that we start with. Hi, Dominic. Thanks for your inquiry about our free roof assessment. And as you can tell, this is where you would switch out exactly what your offer is. Whatever that is, if you're giving them a coupon for half off their haircut, or if you want to come give them a free quote on their HVAC, or you want them to come into your gym, maybe you're giving them a macros breakdown for the specific diet that is best for them. So whatever that you advertise in your ad, you would enter here. Hi, Dominic. Thanks for your inquiry about our free roof assessment. This is James with My Roofing Connect. A little wave emoji just to come across as friendly. So this is what it's going to show first. And then as you can see down here, it gives them different options of what they can click on. What we like to do is we delete all of them except the top one. And then I'll show you what we change that to. We don't put any type of automated response down here. We simply start with something like this. Tap here to claim your free roof assessment. And we usually put this in bold as well. You can do the same thing. Whatever you want to be in bold, you can come over to yaytext.com, enter it in here. We like to make this look kind of like a little button and put some arrows pointing towards it. Tap here to claim your free roof assessment, and then you would copy this first one or highlight this and copy it in order to copy the bold text. You would come back to Facebook and paste it right in here. So this is how it would look to them. So they would see the greeting, and they would see the tap here to claim your free roof assessment. The other thing that works really well is if you offer some type of coupon. Remember, you can always mark your prices up. Say if you're a med spa or a salon, you can always mark your prices up and then offer a $200 off coupon. So the main thing that you're pushing in your ad is get $200 off your permanent makeup treatment or whatever it is, whatever the main service is that you are offering. And then here it would simply say, tap here to claim your coupon or to claim your $200 off coupon or $200 off. Follow-up messages, we don't typically do that. We typically just write back and forth just to make sure that every response is tailored to each person and doesn't feel super generic. So you can call this Messenger Ad 1, or like I would call this, My Roofing Connect, and then I would call this, 1 or 1.0, whatever works best for you when it comes to staying organized. I usually do like a 1.0. That way I know if I redo it, or I'll put a date on there. If I redo it, I'll call it a 2.0, and I'll always look for the latest one. Now we're going to press save. You can always hit this advanced preview in the top right-hand corner if you want to see what this looks like on different placements. Sometimes it struggles to load a little bit, but it will show on every placement that Facebook and Instagram can do. I'm going to click outside of this. You don't have to select any of this because we're not sending people to the website, so you don't need to select website events. We're going to hit publish. One practice that we typically do is if we are launching one single ad, we like to duplicate it one extra time. We find that Facebook doesn't treat every ad exactly equally, so this helps offset any type of volatility that we typically see with Facebook ads. So all you have to do is hit these three dots and hit quick duplicate. You can also do the duplicate option as well. I usually like to come up here and remove the name so it doesn't say copy. And then I'll hit publish again. So this is the same ad, just published twice. So we can X out of this. So now you can see we have our messenger campaign. And then if we click inside of it, we have a $15 a day budget. This is our broad campaign, and we're targeting 20 miles around Nashville. And if you click inside of this, you'll see the two ads that we created. If you need to change the name at all, you can always hit this pencil icon next to them. Sometimes it's a little glitchy. You can always select it as well and then hit this edit button. And you can see the ads again here. And if you need to make any changes to the ad set, you can simply hit edit. We're back on the ad set level. edit, and you can scroll down. So one additional thing that we're going to do, we're going to duplicate this. We're going to hit duplicate original setup. We don't want Facebook to add any of its recommendations. We just want to keep it exactly as is. Try to keep an eye on things that Facebook enables as you are duplicating campaigns and ad sets. As you can see, Facebook is trying to enable this to target people that don't live in this city that we're targeting, but are interested in it. We do not want that. So we're going to disable this. We're going to hit duplicate. So now you can see inside of the same campaign, we now have a second ad set. And an ad set is essentially the audience that you are targeting. And then within that ad set or audience are the ads that you are going to show to that audience. So we're going to change the name of this. We're going to hit edit. We're going to scroll down and see what interest we have available. So as we look in this section, advantage detailed targeting, otherwise known as interest, we're going to start with roof. Now you have a couple different options depending on your budget. If you have a large budget, then we typically like to target one interest per ad set. However, if you have a small budget and you're only wanting to spend, say, $20 or $30 per day, then we typically like to stack audiences, meaning we'll put all of our best audiences into this one ad set. In this scenario, we're going to say that you have a $30 a day budget and that this is a local business. If you had a $300 a day budget and you wanted to duplicate, 10 of these at $30 each, then you typically want to have one interest in each ad set. And we would keep duplicating these ad sets over and over and putting one interest in each. And remember, that's one unique interest in each. These would all be different interests. But for this scenario, I'm going to show you what it looks like to stack all of them into one ad set. So we're going to hit suggestions. Once you put your ideal interest in here, when you hit suggestions, it'll give you very similar ones. So we're going to hit domestic roof. And you want to think when Facebook puts people into these interests, it typically means they were either recently on a website having to do with this interest, or they've clicked on ads having to do with this interest. It could also mean that they're searching for these type of things on Google as well, and then going to those type of websites, and Facebook has tracked that behavior. So home repair, let's see, roof shingle. Actually, I'm going to remove the home repair and focus more just on the roofing side. One thing you could do as well is you can have just a roofing interest stack, and then you could have another one that's all just home repairs. You're grouping similar interests together. So we're seeing if there's anything else that has to do with roofing in here. This roofer, this is people that have an employer. So these would be people that are employed by a roofer. You can see on the side here, it says work, employers, roofer. Want to look for interest. If I scroll off to the side here, you can see where it says interest to the right of each of those interests. Those are usually the biggest audiences and the ones you want to target. You can see here 43 million just in this one. And these are showing you the audience sizes when they're worldwide. When you select them and combine them with your local targeting, it's going to make these audiences much smaller. You can see right now that our audience is only about 97,000 to 114,000 total people when adding these interests. So we're going to scroll a little further. Okay, that's it. So we're simply going to call this roofing interest stack. So everything related to roofing, and I'm sure there are other things out there. One thing you want to think about as well is the type of product they may be searching for. For example, some homeowners may actually do a lot of research on the type of roof that they want. Now, I don't know a lot about roofing, but I have heard a lot of people talk about gaff materials. So that's something as well. If they're doing really heavy research, that's something you could try targeting as well. And just to see if we can find a few more, we're going to type in roof here. Roof tiles. Okay, if that's a service that you're offering, then maybe roof coating. Okay, if you're selling roof rejuvenation, then something like that could work well, or some type of coating. Fiddler on the roof, not exactly what we're looking for. These are job titles or employers, employees. Roofing contractor, okay. And this means that people have been to roofing contractor websites. I'm going to add that one, that's a good one. See if there's any more. I think that is it. Okay. So this is called roofing interest stack. Still Nashville, 20-mile radius. We're going to hit publish. We're going to X out. Now you can see we have two different ad sets. Each of these have those same two ads inside of them. We're going to do this one more time. We're going to duplicate this interest stack, duplicate original ad set. Remember to disable this. We don't want Facebook targeting outside of the city that we are targeting. Duplicate. Let's scroll back down to our interest. So we're going to delete the rest of these. And let's start with home repair. Home repair. Okay, so these are people maybe in the mindset of remodeling. So we're going to hit suggestions. Home improvement, maybe. Home construction, yes. Renovations. Maintenance, repair, and operations falling under construction. People interested in construction. And this is typically pretty time sensitive. Facebook will move people in and out of these audiences as it thinks that they are in the market for that service. Building, maybe. We already did roof. Recently moved. That could be a whole different audience in itself. So you could simply duplicate this and then target recently moved. We'll do that in one more ad set after this. So we can call this our construction or home remodel interest stack. We'll just call this construction. Construction interest stack. Copy, publish. And I always like to remove that copy text, but that's totally up to you. And now you can X out and go back, or you could simply just hit these little three dots anytime you want to duplicate. Quick duplicate. We're going to remove all these interests again. Let's find that recently moved. Okay, friends have recently moved. I think this is the only one. Perfect. Recently moved. And you don't have to call this an interest stack because it's only one interest. So you could just call it recently moved. Publish. Let's see if we could find a couple other things in here. Quick duplicate. Let's think of other things that may make sense other than standard interest. Maybe life events. What if they just got married and purchased a home? So let's start with married. Relationship status. Let's see if there's a life event. And Facebook's constantly changing these. And so you'll have to search when you go through this module of what is still available. Just married the movie, no. Let's go to browse. Then we're going to try demographics, then life events. Okay, you can do anniversaries. These work great for gifts or a service that tie into an anniversary. When running ads for hotels, bed and breakfast, anything that can be presented as a special event or special gift, these work really well for. Let's see, birthdays. Cool thing about this too is you can target upcoming birthdays. Friends of people with birthdays, long distance relationship, new job. Okay, and now we have newlywed. This is great. And if you're ever selling anything for newly engaged couples or have something they may be interested in, say if you're trying to create leads in the health space like a gym or in the beauty space where you do eyebrows or something along those lines, this can be a great audience that you can speak to and tell them this is exactly what you need to be ready for your wedding. You know, come join this boot camp and you know, look as good as ever when you walk down the aisle, or come get this touch up, etc. But for a new roof, it typically makes more sense to target newlywed. So we're just going to say people that just got married in the last 3, 6 months, and 1 year. And again, you can target these individually depending what your budget is, but just to see how well this works, we're going to start with them together. So we're just going to say recently married. I'm going to remove this copy, publish. We're going to duplicate this again, quick duplicate. You can see how you can spend hours going through this. So as we scroll down, we're going to move these interests. Now, when running ads nationwide, a lot of the times we'll target something along the lines of this. So you can target zip codes by income. So you can target the top 10% of zip codes, the top 5% of zip codes. But you can see in the top right, we're targeting around 710,000 people. So now let's layer on the top 10% of zip codes, and let's see how much smaller the 710,000 person audience becomes. So we're going to type in income and then top 10% of zip codes. And it's actually not that bad. It brought it down quite a bit. I was expecting this to be much smaller. That means there's a lot of high income zip codes around Nashville, which is great. So this one, we're going to literally copy and paste this and call this exactly the name of this interest. So we're going to Command C, and then we'll Command V up at the top and paste it. This is a smaller audience. You won't be able to spend tons. Typically, with local advertising, we typically like to spend $10 to $15 a day per every 100,000 people. We find that when you spend a lot more than that, it really starts to burn out the audience. So we're going to paste this in. And then hit publish. Now you can see we have a really nicely built out messenger campaign. As we click inside of the campaign, we have 6 different ad sets at $15 a day each. So in total, this would spend $90. We're targeting a nice variety of audiences. So this has a really high likelihood of performing for us. We have recently married, recently moved. We have a construction interest stack, a roofing interest stack. We have a broad audience targeting everyone within a 20-mile radius of Nashville. And then we have only the top 10% of zip codes as well within that 20-mile radius of Nashville. Now, I will say that messenger ads can also be used for nationwide offers and high ticket offers. However, with high ticket offers, and what I mean by high ticket is a course or program that's worth anywhere from $3,000 to $30,000 for that one course or online program. What we typically see is that the quality of the leads aren't typically as high as when you drive them to your website. But for local ads, these tend to work really well for us. You'll notice that when you're in the ad account, that the default typically goes to this performance setting when it comes to the view of your columns. If you followed the course videos in order, you should already have a lead generation preset created. Go ahead and select that. As we scroll across all of the key metrics that we typically follow, if you're running this type of campaign, a messenger campaign, one metric that you do want to add into here is a column for conversations started. So hit this drop down, I'm going to scroll down, hit customize columns. We're going to search for conversation, messenger conversation started, and then cost per messaging conversation started. So we're going to move this up. We're just going to put it by the leads. So you can put that right before the lead and then move up the cost per messaging conversation. So messaging conversation started and then cost per messaging conversation started. This comes right after landing page view and right before leads. And again, you don't need these if you're not running messenger ads, but if you are, then you definitely want to add these in to the default column setting that we created previously. Save. So now we have these scheduled for tomorrow. The main columns you want to monitor with messenger campaigns is amount spent. So you will see exactly how much each ad set has spent based on the date you have chosen to the right. And then within that, you can see how much each ad has spent. So over the next few days, you want to monitor how much each of these ad sets spends. And also you want to monitor how many conversations are created from each ad set. That's how you begin to find which of these audiences is your ideal audience, the ones that are converting into a conversation. and the ones that are converting most cost effectively into a conversation. If one ad set has a $50 cost per conversation started and another one has a $5 cost per conversation started, unless the quality is significantly better on that $50 conversation, you're going to want to go with the $5 conversations because you can get 10 times as many conversations for the same amount of ad spend. Now, whether you're looking to create conversations and leads on a nationwide level or on a local level, this is the most effective way to create a messenger campaign. We'll see you in the next video.